in 1789.
Concerns over loopholes when issuing U.S. visas, but is tweaking the system enough? We investigate.
First, fair, accurate. KVAL News starts right now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Natasha Chugtai in for Danae DRC tonight. First at 11, a warning for all current and former 4J employees. Your identity might be in jeopardy. KVAL's Molly Blancett has the details.
They're calling it a deliberate security breach. The potential victims, 25,000 current and past 4J school district employees and vendors. District Communications Director Carrie Delph tells me hackers accessed one server that had employee names, phone numbers, and internal ID numbers. But that's not what the district's worried about.
That server was connected to other servers that did have information. Now, those servers are protected. We don't believe that there was any access to those servers, but we can't absolutely rule out the possibility.
Delph says employees found unusual activity on the server last week. District engineers shut it down immediately.
Is there any indication that this was an internal job, that there was a 4J employee that might be responsible for it?
No indication of that whatsoever. And this also was not a computer or a server that was used to browse the internet, so it's also not the sort of thing where somebody accidentally clicks on the wrong link. This was a completely different kind of attack.
According to the district, the attack was not aimed at 4J employees. Instead, it's what's called a denial of service attack. In this case, hackers were likely using the 4J server to attack someone else. Now, the district sent this letter to all current and past employees notifying them of the breach. Natasha?
So, Molly, what should people do if they receive the letter?
Well, Natasha, the district is stressing that it is highly unlikely that any sensitive information got out, but just in case, it's always a good idea to contact your financial institution and the credit card companies and let them know about the breach and pay really close attention to your bank statements. Back to you.
New tonight, a new initiative to legalize marijuana for all adults in Oregon, not just medical marijuana users. Members of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, or NORML, say they feel more people are accepting of legal marijuana use. Under the proposal, the pot would be sold at stores regulated by the creation of an Oregon Cannabis Control Commission. Supporters say this could raise an estimated $30 million for the state.
Why don't we capture the revenue that's just being lost to the criminal market in many regards and bring it to the people? We're the ones who deserve it.
Well, every dollar that comes in, there's going to be money that's going to need to be allocated to go back out to continue to deal with those issues, much like alcohol.
The last time supporters tried to legalize pot for widespread use in Oregon was back in 1986 under a ballot initiative that failed with only 26% of the vote. The same petitioner, Paul Stanford, arrested at one point for a marijuana grow in his home, is behind this new effort. We'd like to hear what you think. Should marijuana be legalized for all adults in Oregon? Send us your comments to kvalnews@kval.com. Seth Wayne is taking some time off, and we welcome the newest member of the KVAL weather team, Lauren Allison. Welcome. So
Thank
Lauren,
you. Thank you.
Yes, you'll be part of the weekend team, actually. You're just filling in here for Seth.
Filling in for Seth for about a week or so. Yeah. And
Great. Well, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
From Portland, right?
From Portland, but no
from
stranger to Eugene.
Exactly.
Grew up in the area, so it's great to be back.
Awesome. And rain in the forecast.
Rain in the forecast, but not really for tomorrow. We're going to get a break. For a little bit. Yeah, we've had quite a bit of rain. As you well know, soggy today at best. Let's take a look at our Doppler radar and check out what it looked like over the course of the day. You could see quite a bit of rainfall around the southern Willamette Valley. That now has moved on. It did around the afternoon and dinner hour. So we're seeing clear skies. Current temperature right now, we just fell to 41 degrees in Newport, 45. Right now in the 50s for both Coos Bay, North Bend, and Roseburg. Chillier east of the mountains in the 20s and 30s. What you can expect tomorrow along the coast in the 50s under mostly cloudy skies with maybe a few scattered showers, but trace amounts of rain at that. Although we won't see rain, we will likely see some dense morning patchy fog. Expect that on your morning drive to work or school. Our highs will be in the 40s. In the mountains tomorrow, we're still maintaining those high snow levels right around 7,000 feet. Highs will be in the 40s, but with some peaks of sunshine. Natasha?
A KVAL follow-up tonight. An Albany man ticketed for allegedly running a light at an intersection where green lights overlap was in court yesterday. Bill Weaver is trying to get his ticket thrown out. The citation said Weaver ran a light at or near the intersection of 9th Street and Lyon. A decision is expected within the next 10 days. If you're on public property, you can no longer be naked in the city of Ashland. The city council made that decision Tuesday night after a series of complaints over nudity in the downtown area and near some elementary schools. But the American Civil Liberties Union is threatening legal action, arguing the council's decision violates the Oregon Constitution's protection of free expression. There are now 11 women who have come forward saying their hair was cut or smeared with super glue in the Portland area while on the bus. We know the suspect was convicted for supergluing a woman's hair at a hardware store near Tacoma. Now police in Texas are looking at whether he superglued 3 people there. A 12-year-old girl was smeared with superglue in July. We're protecting her identity, but she explains how she screamed as her attacker took off.
There's glue on my hair. That guy put glue on my hair. I tried to point him out so they could see who he was.
Walter's mother says her son was a problem to raise and was often under doctor's care for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, but she says her son didn't have an obsession with women's hair that she knew of. The State Department says when it comes to the attempted airline bombing, it did what it could according to existing procedures. But existing procedures, it admits, still leaves gaps. Jill Doherty takes a closer look.
A United States visa, a coveted document, the key to visiting the U.S. For more than 2 centuries, it's the State Department that's been responsible for handling official travel documents like this. Yet the alleged Christmas Day bomber had an active U.S. visa, and in spite of his father's warnings, it was never canceled. Now some critics say no more visas for the State Department.
The function of dealing with diplomacy with foreign governments should be in the State Department. But protecting our borders is now a hell of a lot harder than it was in 1789. We have an agency that does that. DHS has customs in it, it has immigration in it, and this is the kind of border protection function it was created to do and that ought to be lodged at DHS.
DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, should be issuing visas, this former Bush Deputy National Security Advisor says, and revoking them when necessary. That's how the British, Canadians, and Australians, among others, handle it, he says. Already, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which is part of DHS, is responsible for keeping terrorists out of the U.S. and for enforcing immigration laws. But the